Hey y'all, we still on lesson 4, but as y'all can see, I have a wardrobe change, and that's simply because iPhone storage, I didn't have no storage on my phone left, so it cut off in the middle of me trying to do video or lesson 4 part 3. So I got that squared away, and this is the next day, but we just gonna keep on going. So I finished off lesson 4 part 2 talking about liquidity, so I'm just gonna jump right back into that. Liquidity is how easily you can buy or sell something without causing or suffering a large price change. So remember at the end of part 2 where I gave the analogy of water. So liquid water, it flows easily. You're able to get in, make a sale, or buy some shares and slip out without spiking up the price or tanking it. So a liquid stock generally has a lot of active participation and enough available and buying, selling interest around the current price that trading can happen relatively easy. So that's the same with me saying I jump into the market, go ahead and buy or sell, and then I get out easily without making the price spike or go down. But also, where there's one, there is the other. So where you have liquidity, you can also have illiquid. So an illiquid stock may have fewer participation and less available interest. So in that analogy I gave with Facebook Marketplace on part 2, it's the same. So with Marketplace A, there wasn't a lot of people that were online or buying or selling anything, and there weren't a lot of trades going on. That would be an illiquid stock, or be synonymous with the illiquid stock. It's not a lot of opportunities for you to get in and sell or buy because there aren't a lot of people who are wanting to sell or buy. So that in turn can create a wider spread. And remember, the spread is the difference between the ask and the bid. So it's before you actually fill an order. So it's just you kind of looking at the numbers and seeing like, okay, well, do I want to take on this spread just in case I don't buy or sell at the price that I want to? But if it's an illiquid stock where you're wanting to sell or buy at a specific price, but there aren't a lot of people, and the ask and bid prices that are on there are extremely out of your range, do you want to take on that wider spread? That's what an illiquid stock can create, a wider spread. All right, so moving along, I'll give you an example. So a very actively traded stock would have maybe a bid price of $20. And let's go ahead and write this down so y'all will see. The bid price is $20 and the ask price is $20.01. So this would be like Marketplace B, where there's a lot of people in there trading. It's a lot of transactions going on, and you're able to just get in, maybe bid your $20, get out, easily. A liquidity stock, all right, a liquid stock. Now, illiquid stock might have a bid of $20, but an ask price of $20.40. This could probably be an illiquid stock, just because the spread for the first trade would only be 1 cent, but the spread for this second trade would be a 40-cent spread. Are you wanting to take that on? An illiquid stock can create a larger spread than a liquidity stock or than a liquid stock. All right. Now, remember that high volume and liquidity often relates, but they aren't the same. They aren't identical, and you cannot use them interchangeably. They often relate, but you can't use them interchangeably. Remember that. And we'll explore that distinction a little bit more later. So Tani, why does liquidity matter when trying to get out of a trade or trying to get out of the market? So a new trader might think, how much can I make? Like, I want to get in. This might be my first trade. how much can I make on my first trade? Like, I'm really excited. How much can I make? But you should be thinking, what happens if I'm wrong and I need to get out? We all always should be thinking about risk management more than making money. Like, yes, the goal is to make money. We all want to make money with doing day trading. However, I want to make money, but I absolutely under no circumstances want to be losing money. Okay, nobody wants to be giving away money. So you should always put risk management before making money. So now imagine you own 1,000 shares and you want to sell them. So you own 1,000 shares. All right. You want to sell this whole entire 1,000 shares, right? But there aren't many willing buyers around the current price, around the price that you want to sell these shares at. It isn't a lot of willing buyers. All right. You might have to accept progressively lower prices to sell those shares quickly. So you wanted to get in, sell your 1,000 shares for a certain price, but it's not a lot of people wanting to buy your shares at that price that you want to sell them for. So you might have to eventually start selling them slowly at different lower prices than you wanted to sell. That brings back up slippage from the previous lesson. Remember, slippage is after you filled that order. So we're no longer thinking about the spread, like just thinking about what we might lose or what we might gain. Now we've actually lost and gained some stuff, because slippage, liquidity can affect your execution. All right. Now your entry matters, but your exit matters too. We want to make sure that we get in at a good price, but we also want to make sure that we get out with, of course, we want to have a profit, but we also want to make sure that if we do take a loss, that loss is not catastrophic. Okay? Now let's talk about relative volume. Suppose I tell you TJP traded 1 million shares today. Is that a lot? Is that a lot of shares? We would think that that's a lot of shares because it's a million trades. It's a million transactions. People, buying and selling these shares. That seems like a lot. However, what if TJP normally trades around 2 million shares a day? So would a million shares be a lot? Not necessarily, because that's not their normal activity. So relative volume is different when you think about context, when you think about it in context. And also, relative volume is normally abbreviated as RVOL. So if you see RVOL, it means relative volume. And at a basic level, relative volume compares the current trading price against the normal average trading activity. I'm so sorry. It's the current trading activity, not price, activity, versus or against the normal average trading activity. So again, in that example of TJP selling currently 1 million shares, currently today the trading for TJP would be 1 million shares, but normally they trade at 2 million shares.